Well, welcome. We've got a very special session of Black History Conversations today. As we reflect on Black History Month and Black History 365 in Wales, we have another opportunity to share with current research, and we're welcoming the students and your teacher, Miranda, from Coleg Menai, who are working on the Woven Histories project with Charlotte Hammond from the University of Cardiff. So I'm Liz Millman from Learning Links International, and apologies, I'm afraid, from Marcia Dunkley from Black Heritage Walks Network. And we're going to be carrying on looking at the story between Welsh wool and slavery. So this is really very exciting for us to do this. My name's Liz Millman, and I'm currently in Australia. So it's the thing that we have to do here out of respect is to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which I'm currently living. These are the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, their elders, past, present and future. Because this land belongs to the sovereign people of the First Nations, and it was never ceded. It always was, and it always will be, Aboriginal land. So if you just think about that acknowledgement, that shows that if you've never thought this through before, but Australia didn't belong to white people. Australia belonged to the people who were here, the sovereign people of the First Nations. There were many different nations across Australia. And when we start meetings, we always recognise that fact of history. Okay, so now we're going on to the next bit of this, and that is to remind us all that we're still in the International Decade for people of African descent. Racism is a terrible, terrible thing, and all across the world, people of African descent are experiencing different sorts of racism. And so one of the things in Black History Conversations is that we look at the different challenges and issues that people of African descent have. So this is a United Nations project and really isn't that well known. However, in Wales, with the new curriculum coming in, there's going to be a whole lot more understanding about this. Now, okay, so we're now going to explain about the session. Okay, so Charlotte Hammond, who's with us from Cardiff University, she's going to talk with us first. Then Miranda's going to have an opportunity to come in and explain, and we can work out how we're going to share this, because it's great to have students from Coleg Menai joining us to share your project work. And I've got a few examples already that have been sent to me. I'm not quite sure how we're going to work this out, but it'll work fine, I'm sure. And we'll go through this. So I think, Charlotte, I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. Oh, sorry, just to say to you, when we did a project that in 2019, From Sheep to Sugar, this was the photograph we took at the launch. So we went to Shrewsbury, actually, and there was a very good reason for going to Shrewsbury, because that was the place where a lot of the Welsh wool went through as part of the whole project. So okay, right, so I think, Charlotte, if we go over to you and you're able to share your screen now.
Great, thanks very much, Liz. Thanks for that introduction. Let me just okay, hopefully you can all see my screen there. Yeah, hi everyone. Really happy to see some familiar faces and meet some new people on this Zoom call. So I'm just going to give a really brief overview of our project and an update on where we're up to. So the project Woven Histories of Welsh Wool and Slavery was funded by Cardiff University's Research Wales Innovation Funding, which is from the Higher Education Funding Council for Wales, HEFQ. And They fund innovation projects in impact, public engagement, and civic mission. So our project aim for this was to engage and educate new audiences in about the history of the Welsh wool industry and its connections to Atlantic slavery and empire, building on the 2019 National Heritage Lottery Fund community project that Liz mentioned, her project Sheep to Sugar. So building on the research that had already been done during that project. Now, the original idea was to create a self-guided heritage walk through the ruins of Pandai Fulling Mills in the town of Dolgellau in the county of Meirionydd, with the potential to expand this, to explore pack horse trails. I know, Liz, you're really interested in that aspect as well. But with also potential maybe to scale the project to include links to the Caribbean and the southern states of the US, which are really integral to the underpinning research, the history, and also to public understanding. And just to add to that, I'm kind of interested in sort of more broadly thinking about transnational textiles in the Atlantic world. So potentially sort of fitting with that. So here is the project team. So I'm really honoured to be working, first of all, with Marcia Dunkley, who's got extensive experience creating heritage walks that really centre Black history in and around Birmingham. And I think Marcia is also interested in looking at its history from a Welsh cultural heritage perspective. Liz Millman, who led the Sheep to Sugar project, exploring the history of the Welsh Plains woolen fabric produced in Meirionydd and used for the transatlantic slave trade, used on plantations in the Americas. And Liz has previously worked, as lots of you may know, with the local community in the town of Dolgellau, which became a centre for wool production, particularly in the late 18th century. And then myself, who is sort of randomly a lecturer in French studies, but really focused on French-speaking, Creole-speaking Caribbean and other projects more focused on the use of textiles as a form of cultural resistance in the Caribbean. So the idea was this self-guided walk, possibly with an audio element, possibly with a map, some information. And the Pandai Fulling Mill ruins are located by the river Aran. So this is a valley which is very much suited to the use of water power for the woolen industry. And I kind of went on this scoping mission to Dolgellau and was really sort of, I guess, struck by this sort of sensory experience of these waterways and ruins and how the land holds these material historical traces, and also how sound can evoke memory. So I guess the link between sound and memory. So I don't know if that's where So I was kind of interested actually that how the audio for the walk could be recorded. You know, could it involve attaching binaural microphones to the walkers' ears so that the sound recorded is recorded from their perspective, so it captures that ambient sound, the sound of their head turning to explore, examine these ruins, the ruins of these mills. The river, or the sound of a spinning wheel or a loom, as well as sort of layered with the conversations between historians, members of the community talking about the history of wool production. So those conversations could form part of a field recording, which includes the sounds of the river Aran and the surrounding landscape. So when I went there, I took some sound recordings by the river just on my phone. not very good quality. But yeah, I was struck also by listening to the local community talk about the centrality of that river, you know, the memories of playing in that river, and that the Pandy ruins were often mistaken for just a pile of stones. I thought that was kind of, really evocative. And just yesterday, I was reading something where in the historical sources, where one observer, Bingley, who toured around North Wales in the late 18th century, early 19th century, talked about the stream, and I quote here, resounding with the sound of the pounding wooden mallets, the fulling mallets, which again, I thought was quite interesting, a way of linking and listening to the landscape through sounds. One strand. So Liz had previously worked with Grŵp Aaron, who are a group of retired archivists, I guess historians, local researchers that have been researching the Pandai on the Arun River, and are interested in exploring Dolgellau woolen industrial heritage and its connection to the Atlantic slave trade, how Welsh plains have been produced in the Pandai. But really, up to this point with the project, the main mediator between our project and Grŵp Aaron has been Snowdonia National Park's cultural heritage officer, Jessica John, who has been supporting a broader Dolgellau townscape heritage project. And she's been collecting oral histories of the older generation in the town who remember working with wool and skins as well, because there was tanneries in Dolgellau. And she's been conducting workshops to connect to the younger generation who may not realise how important this industry was to the area. But the main challenge, I guess, so far has been the time to build up these relationships. Just the national park has been kind of key in bridging what we do with Grŵp Aaron in Dolgellau. When we were initially thinking about producing the information for a walk, a map, or a leaflet to accompany or signpost the walk, we reached out to the foundation degree program at Coleg Menai, who were wonderfully enthusiastic about researching this history in Mid Wales, in North Wales. I should point out actually, sorry, so Miranda, their teacher, their lecturer, sent me some artwork by one of the students that I've tried to feature, so a few weeks ago, that I've tried to feature in these slides. Also sent some, as Liz said, more artwork from other students this morning, and I think, yeah, I had sort of goosebumps opening this work this morning. It was incredible. So really looking forward to hearing more from the students about the work. But I suppose they've been researching and developing visual interpretations and readings of the colonial connections between the manufacture of Welsh plains and slavery. And I think hopefully this is an opportunity for a discussion where Liz can feed in her expertise on the historical research that might help to develop, underpin, and reinforce the students' work. So the students have been researching local stories of wool production over the summer, have been involved in site visits, as far as I understand, drawing teasels used for carding, fulling mill channels, the landscape, wool, sheep. And so one update is that we're going to be participating in the ESRC's, the Economic and Social Research Council Festival of Social Sciences this year. The theme is our local area, I think, yeah. And so we'll be doing a zine making workshop for anyone that's not sure exactly what a zine is, zines are creative, handmade, DIY magazines or booklets about a particular subject. So in the workshop, participants will create their own small zine to explore the history of Welsh wool and its links to transatlantic slavery. And so this will involve drawing, cutting, collaging images and text about this history together. And I guess one of the aims is just to think about, I suppose, creative research methods as a form of alternative knowledge production to better understand how this Welsh industrial heritage is entwined with Welsh colonial history, British colonial history, and sort of, yeah, interested in this idea of sort of cutting up a narrative that's been told from perspective of the colonizer to create a new narrative, and practices of appropriation as well. So yeah, just to add one more thing, sorry, I'll stop talking in a sec. This is looking at me like she wants to kill me, but I will I will stop talking. Yeah, so another thing is, so we're sort of continuing on with workshops. So we participated in Wool Week in Dolgellau back in July, and this involved workshops with the local school, Ysgol Bro Idris, with year 5, year 7 pupils who took part in walks as well, exploring the history of the local woolen industry, led by Group Aaron, felt making workshops led by local artist Coleg Menai, and a workshop with myself, which focused on connecting the local history to the history of the transatlantic slave trade. Yeah, so that was organised by the National Park. So next steps, I mean, I would love, I guess, to create some kind of learning resource, whether that's a zine, some kind of book. I know the students have produced these amazing pop-up books, even a comic that could be used as a teaching resource. Yeah, or even that documents the story of trying to research this history as well. Yeah, that might be a bit controversial, but I think, yeah, something, but still really interested in sound walks, field recordings, the sonic mapping of a place, and yeah, so want to sort of carry on with workshops and other creative opportunities. So I'll stop there. I just wanted to, yeah, even though I'm not sure exactly what the next steps are, I will pop in the chat a Haitian Creole expression to sort of sums up how I'm feeling at the moment, and I'll stop talking. Thanks very much.
I thought that was really, really interesting, really putting it in context and explaining your project, which is the Woven Histories project, and how you are engaging with the wonderful foundation degree program students at Coleg Menai. I mean, I just think it's really great, because we need to, in Wales, understand our shared history, and the shared history of Wales is really interesting, because Wales has got a very long coastline and had excellent mariners in the past, and probably still have today, who travelled all over the world. So Wales, the influence of Wales is found all over the world. And so unfortunately, the story of slavery and colonisation is entwined in Welsh history. So it's really important to take a fresh look at this and share it with understanding. Now, Charlotte, thank you very much indeed for that. You've popped your message in the chat, which says, I'm not going to read it in whatever language it's in. What language is it?
So that's Haitian Creole. And I just thought of it this morning. I was like, whatever happens, tet ensemble, nap marché. So literally heads together, we carry on walking. So that's
really kind. It's also really interesting to be using Zoom as a medium to be able to talk together. We can talk with people all around the world now. Sometimes you have to be a bit creative and stay up half the night like I am, but it is quite amazing what we can do now, so that's great. We've got a colleague who's joined us just, he's called Makapi Selassie. Makapi comes from Birmingham. Do you want to say hello, Makapi, to the students from the Foundation Degree Programme at Coleg Menai?
Yeah, greetings, everyone who's on the Zoom. Yep, is that enough? Greetings. Hi. I don't know to say it in Welsh, or I would, you know me, but yeah, that's it.
All right, Makapi's joining us from Tanzania. Okay,
yeah.
Makapi's a Rasta. We worked together a lot on a project with the British Prison Service to ensure that Rasta was accepted as a faith along with all the other faiths. So thank you for joining us, Makapi. As you can see, we can have people from all around the world. Now, I don't know all of your names quite, but I think that's we're mainly Foundation Degree students. Now, what's the next step going to be then, Charlotte? We want to look at some of the work in progress. Do you want us to show some of the work that was being sent to us? I've got...
Well, maybe Miranda, do the students want to come in and talk about their own work, to give space some time for that?
Yeah, that would be great. I think some of them are able to present themselves. Oh, here we have.
Yeah.
So we've got Kimberly's work here.
That's Kimberly's work. Yes.
So, Kim, are you happy to talk us through your work?
Go ahead, Kim.
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
Okay, over to you, Kimberly.
It's you, honey.
Well, this pages I visited online the National Museum of Wool, and I got interested in the wool processing and all the machinery used for them. So I sketched all the process and the machines.
This is fantastic. I mean, it's such an interesting, just wondering if I can make it bigger for you. It just is the most beautifully produced book, isn't it? Where you've done your sketches, you've included the information about how this is the spinning machine. They were called spinning jennies at one stage, when the process of wool production was mechanized. So this is just fascinating. Can I just roll them through and you just talk as we go through?
Yeah. As well as for the spinning wheels, I thought that the method is quite interesting. And
we've got those old spinning wheels, which were the things that would have been used, the process that would have been used to produce the Welsh Plains cloth. It would have been spinning wheels, not the spinning jenny. The spinning jenny came later. And this little homely loom, that would have been the sort of loom that produced this very plain cloth called Welsh Plains. Thank you. That's brilliant.
Then I got interested in the different type of different different breeds of sheeps in Wales.
And that's amazing, because you see, Welsh Plains was also called Negro cloth. There were we found that there was something about it that made it very hard wearing, and it was really required both in the slave trade in West Africa, but also for clothing enslaved people in the US and also in the Caribbean islands. And it's the qualities of Welsh mountain sheep, these hill sheep, that gives them this strength to the cloth. So that's really interesting that you chose that. Well done.
when I was visiting all the museum as well. I saw some patterns, and then I researched more about the type of fashion, traditional fashion in Wales.
Yes, and these ladies would have been the ladies who would have been spinning all day while they were doing their other tasks. They'd be keeping on spinning using the spinning wheels, or even there's a simpler way of spinning that you can carry around, but also knitting all the time with Welsh wool. That was huge, loads of knitting socks particularly. I think it's Bala that's very popular with socks, right?
And here I decided to do a little mind map or explanation about the relationship between the Welsh plains and the sugar plantation in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm. Many of the plantations in the Caribbean this cloth would have gone to, and you've rightly said 1650 to 1850. This was the time. This was earlier than the mills that we see today, the Welsh woolen mills. They came when mechanisation came. Welsh Plains was mainly produced before mechanisation. So that's really interesting. And here you've got showing how the fulling mill worked, and that's a fantastic example, because the pandis, that's the Welsh word for fulling mills, it was a complex process that treated the cloth once it was woven and gave it some substance. You know how wool felts? Well, it gives it that texture so it doesn't just fall apart. Wonderful. Oh, this is in Shrewsbury.
Yeah, it's where all the woven fabric ended for trading. So
that's wonderful. Thank you. And the ladies in their costumes, more illustrations of sheep. This is just beautiful. And I think this is the last one where they're really rather gorgeous, and you've turned the sheep into Welsh people. Thank you very much indeed for that. That's really lovely. I hope that I did justice to you looking at that one. Well done. So whose was that? Sorry.
Sorry?
Who did that one?
Oh, me.
Was Kimberly who did that?
That's me.
Yeah, that's Kimberly over there.
Okay then, right now, what have we got next? Right, let me just get myself organized here.
Mm-hmm.
Every now and again things don't always work out quite as you were intending, like now this minute. I can't get back into my screen. Right.
Maybe,
okay, I'm here.
The students themselves
right.
could share if otherwise, or no.
Is that possible? Can you share it yourselves? Who could share their work with me?
Ellen, can you share yours?
Yeah, I'll do that now. It's just
Okay,
the share screen button, isn't it?
Yeah, but Simon has to make sure that you can share your screen. He has to make you a co-host.
No, it's all right. Anybody can share.
Oh, that's fine then. Well done.
Give me just one
Fabulous,
second.
brilliant work, Kimberly. Thanks for sharing. Yes, lovely comments.
Okay, can you see this?
It's coming up now. Yes, we can. Lovely, thank you.
Okay.
Well done, Kimberly. This is a great presentation.
Okay, so this is just the pages of the sketchbook that I've been working on. So yeah, this is kind of the title page, an old map of Dolgella there. And some of the pages are a bit unfinished, but some kind of some facts, the kind of rough pages. A little drawing here of a map of Wales and then the US, and kind of the connections between the creating of the cloth and the slave trade. This is it's a quite a random sketchbook, like there's a mix of everything. So this is page on I live in a farming community, so Cniva Cumlin is speed shearing, so that's kind of an event that happens to raise money, because it's kind of like a sport. So this is an event I went on during the summer, and took pictures of the contestants, and I just thought it was relevant to this project. It's just a drawing of the cloth itself. On the left, there's just drawings of the typical kind of clothing that would be made from the cloth, from what I've learned anyway. So yeah, some kids' clothes and adult clothes there. And on the right, just some photos that I found online that I thought were relevant that I just stuck down. And then again, just some more drawings. That's Harry Morgan, who is a Welsh pirate, I think, from what I've learned, but he's kind of glamorized. There's a whole I think it's rum that's named after him, but it has like the dark history of he was a plantation owner. And then I mentioned a bit about Tiger Bay in Cardiff. I just kind of strayed a bit here, just kind of looking at other kind of the history of Black people in Wales. So I learned a bit about Tiger Bay and the kind of multi-ethnic community, and a little Shirley Bassey drawing there as well. And then this page, again, this is kind of straying a bit too, but some history makers in Welsh sport, some the first Black players for rugby and football, people who I don't think we hear a lot about, but are kind of significant. And then a bit about the Windrush, the Windrush community in Wales, and how that's relevant as well. Some flags there of some of the countries that people travelled from, and during there of a man working in Wales, coming from the Windrush generation. This is a page on John Ystumllyn, who was recently, the rose was named after him at the Chelsea Flower Show. He was a Black young man living in Criccieth, which is like 20 minutes away from where I live here. And there's a pub in Gaernarfon named the Black Boy Inn, and it's named after John Ystumllyn. They have the history there on the website of him as well. And just some writing there on stuff. I think that's probably something that I found online. This was during the summer, so I don't remember exactly where everything is from. And then an old map of Wales there on the side. And then that's the final page that I haven't finished, but you can kind of see what that was going to be. So yeah, that's that. That's the final page.
Thank you so much, Ellen. That was fantastic. And I won't apologise for straying. I think the important thing is to see the story of Welsh Plains in the context of all the other links that there are with Black history. And I think that was really, really valuable. I appreciate that. My colleague Caroline Sansom's joined us at the moment. Caroline was the other main researcher when we did the Welsh Plains project. So she's absolutely fascinated. And here we have Marcia Dunkley joining us as well. So we've got the whole crew of us here now at last. That's
Hello,
lovely.
Marcia.
Hello there.
Hello.
Lovely, wonderful to see. It brings back lovely memories. I'm sorry, my face is lopsided. I went to the dentist for what was supposed to be just a checkup, and they took out the back tooth. Oh my God. So
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, I'm in a lot of pain, but I'm lovely to see you all. It's wonderful.
Absolutely fabulous, and it was lovely to see you on the photograph with all the students a little bit earlier, Marcia, but you'll be able to see that on the recording. I hope you feel all right soon, and if you don't want to have your picture on, then please just...
I might just take my video off if that's all right, but I am here. It's only because I feel very conscious about the fact like someone's punched me. Sorry.
Oh, no.
Well done you, that's lovely. Okay, right, who have we got next then? The presentations were great. There's so many compliments in the chat. Who are we going to choose next?
We're just going to bring up Saren's website because all your work's on the website, isn't it, Saren? And
yeah.
It's a quick chat through that. So if you just hold on a sec.
Okay, well, my colleague Caroline, who's in Carnarvon at the moment, she's joined us during her lunchtime, and so she'll just be with us for a while. This is just amazing to have all this opportunity, and so valuable that these resources are being produced now, when schools are really going to need this information to share with their students as they're learning about Wales's Black history stories. Lovely. Okay, June Elizabeth, want to say something?
We're just going to share the screen.
Okay, June, we'll pick with you later, June
I just
Elizabeth.
wanted to say the last presentation, the footballers are in this book as well, from Wales.
Excellent, that's really lovely.
That was one of the books I was going to show later on. Yeah, but I
Okay.
thought I'd just show it now because I've got a phone call, so I'm going to have to go out and come back in. But
Okay, no problem, June Elizabeth, thank you. Okay, we're on with the next one then, Miranda.
We're just trying to work out how to get the website on screen. Callum's just going to have a quick look.
Do you want me to?
Well, I think if it's okay with you, I can do it through my screen share. Is this it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Did I do that then?
Good, you got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have I got the right screen share?
Yeah, you sure do.
Is this okay then? Just talk us through this and I'll just scroll it down slowly.
Are you able to talk it through a little bit, Sarah?
Yeah.
That's lovely, Sarah, thank you.
Yeah.
Really old map of Wales there, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so if you scroll down a bit, Liz, and we'll get to some more imagery. So you've done some writing there, haven't you, Sarah?
Absolutely fabulous writing.
Yeah,
which
thank you.
very kindly has been transcribed underneath so we can read it a little more easily. Do you want to read it through?
Yeah, I sure will. I went on an adventure with Emily Mayer to Llangyhangel y Penai near Porthmadog. First, we went to see the Brinkir woolen mill to draw it until a mean lady made us leave. Then Emily chatted to a man who said there was a lady at a cafe who was knowledgeable about the valley. On the way, we explored the slate slab mill Pandy, where I have been with my family over the years since I was young. I took picture of the nature objects and creatures and beautiful green trees. Then we went to Cathy's cafe for a cup of tea and a sheep were being sheared. On our way home at the parish church, we came across farmers with wool in big bags. They said it was being taken by the British Wool Board.
Okay, fascinated. So you really had used your time in the summer well and looked at some of these, you know, what you can find on the internet with maps and things, which is fantastic.
Thank
Here
you.
they are. Very shorn sheep.
Yeah.
And the big bags of wool.
Yeah, big bags of wool.
Yeah. So the British Wool Board now take all the wool and then distribute it out again, I gather. Now, how did you take this picture?
So outside of Porthmadog, we were, of course, went to this, like, of course, well, you know, we saw this big museum thingy which people don't go into anymore, and so Emily and I decided to have like a peek to see what was inside of it. But of course, a lady came to us. She said it was private property because we were not allowed to go into there anymore.
But you managed to get some really good shots here. This is interesting. So is this disused now? Is this used? Yeah.
Well, it's just taking pictures of it.
See, one of the things that's important here is that there's the industrial heritage. You just, if you live in Wales all the time, you just get used to every little village having great big factory buildings, and they are factory buildings. They were where cloth was produced for local use, so that people have clothes to wear, and also for export purposes. Thank you. That's really great. So this is a beautiful illustration.
Yeah.
I can't get it all on the screen at the same time, but what's this of?
So this was in Dolgella, which was like a huge whole thingy where we were having like a meeting talking about Welsh wool and slavery. And then Emily, of course, told me to do a picture of the window.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Thank
All
you.
right, okay, so this is when you were in Dolgella to learn more about the Welsh Wool and Slavery Project.
Yeah.
And you met the Aaron Group and Charlotte Hammond.
Yeah, Charlotte Hammond was there.
Oh, and Anne Carrad was there. She's the lady who's got the wool shop in Dolgella.
Yeah, I saw Carrad there. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's got the carding brushes. Carding
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, hear all about your lunch and sitting on the steps by the bus stop. Excellent.
Yeah, thank you.
This is a beautiful illustration of a photograph of the variety of Welsh wool. You can tell why it was so special and so valuable.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, we've got a map here showing again the walk that you went on, but also showing the Arun River here.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you.
And then beautiful illustrations. These are just stunning, aren't they?
Thank you, thank you.
And then Brinkier Woolen Mill. I can remember that as a child. My mum used to taking us there.
Wow,
really, really lovely. Beautiful.
Cool.
Aren't they exceptional? And the evidence left of the water wheels and just so gorgeous. Really beautiful.
Thank you.
And the fulling
channel
process is fulling channel. Interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
Fulling is still a process that has to be done to wool fabric, but obviously in a very different mechanized way. And this is beautiful illustration.
Thank you.
That's the Melin Apandi. So the mill, the fulling mill, a lot of the clues about wool production are in the place names and in the field names and the street names in Welsh, and that's one of the things we struggled with because we weren't Welsh speaking.
Yeah.
So, that's a really important thing that you picked up there.
Thank you.
And again, amazing detail. Fabulous illustrator. I just love it. Great sheet. Oh, this is, you see, something like this, you can see it made into being a resource, particularly this picture, resource perhaps for the younger children to understand some things about the story. Here we've got the project, right? Wow. Through the arched windows. Excellent. Right, Cumpanant. Lovely. See, doing this research and taking the photographs and recording them, it's so important. Really, really.
Thank you.
My birds in the background here, right. Okay, then you went off to the workshop in Pennygroes. And Nicole, yes, Nicole's doing some great work, isn't she? About
Nicole, yeah.
She's excellent. They'd go at carding. I mean, it's a process that would have taken so long. And they go at felting here. This is a really lovely thing as well. And if you think about hats are made of felt, we haven't explored that one in Wales yet, but hat production has been important.
Yeah.
Oh, and these are the teasels. Now, for the carding, the early carding machines, actually, the machinery actually had teasels put in it because teasels were the best way of carding.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. Right? Wow, this is an amazing site here that you've put together with all these illustrations. And of course, we see teasels just there on the side of the road, but they were such an integral and important part, and often you could tell where these old pandis were because there are teasels and also soap work. Soap work was used in the fulling process. So All right, again, a coloured in version of that one. Excellent.
Thank you.
Not quite sure what all these palm trees are doing here in Wales, but I know they're existing. So obviously they would have come back, you know, in the early days with the trade. You know, sailors would have brought a palm tree back. It would have been so exotic. Really brilliant illustration. Just
Thank
exceptional, isn't it? Right, lovely. And here we've got the water and the bridges. The Packhorse bridges are really interesting indicators of the cloth. Absolutely fabulous. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Really lovely. And this is interesting because you're taking here, you know, information that you can find, because the cloth, a lot of cloth was bought for trading purposes, and it was traded with people, communities living on this west coast of Africa. And the cloth, because you can't keep sheep in hot tropical countries, so this cloth made of wool was very much valued, and then the trade was for people, and this is the really awful part of the story. But you can see on this diagram, you see a large number of ships came over to the Caribbean and North America, but an incredibly large number of ships transported people to South America. And this was the Spanish and Portuguese doing that bit of the trading, and also it shows that there was trading of enslaved people. This is an interesting picture you've got there and included in your collage, so you know, it's an important story, and you've got your a bit of the map there as well. And Llanfihangel, a pennant, reminds me as well of the Pennant family, and we're doing research into their story in Penrhyn Castle. I'd love to talk to you about that. Wonderful, wonderful. Does this go on forever?
Well, I've done a lot over the summer.
Wow, what a brilliant way of showing it, though. Putting it on a website. Just stunning.
Yeah, thank you.
And for a subject which is a really difficult subject, to have illustrations that can be used to tell the story that are so beautifully lively like this, it's just
thank you.
Here we are, Cwm Pennant again, and
that's a map of it.
Wow, 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 wow. Oh, right, this one I was really intrigued by. Tate and Lyle, the Tate Museum in Liverpool was from that money, and the Tate plantations were in northwest Jamaica. I've been to that area and seen the communities in rural parts of the island are really struggling at the moment. But isn't this interesting? And the fact about Silver Spoon, the whole industry was created around sugar, because sugar became so popular that you know, silver spoons were created specially to stir your drink with sugar in.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, amazing. So that's really lovely.
Thank you.
So I'm not quite sure, what's this one here?
It's a jaggery. It comes from India, of course, which is like a huge block of sugar.
Gosh, yeah, wonderful. Right, okay. Thank you. Then well done, you. That's absolutely remarkable. Thank you so much. There's so many congratulations and things in the chat. So well done. That's absolutely brilliant. Right, what are we going to do next? Next, we are going to do.
I think I sent you another presentation just earlier, which is a collection of students' work, and they've been working a lot more on graphic design. So, and there's some sketchbook stuff in there as well. But I'm not sure.
Okay, hang on.
Oh yeah, I could just see that now in my inbox. Let me.
Right. Okay, I've got it now. So let's share screen. Here we are. Okay, is this it?
Right, bring it.
Yeah.
Grab it.
That's it. Yes, that's it. Yeah, I think that's your work, isn't it, Sue-Ann?
Yeah.
Wow.
So basically, we've done more graphical work. So I just found some different materials and just scanned them into the photocopy, I think it was, and just printed a lot of different things up. You know, played around with the layout and yeah.
If you study more about the clothes that were made, that the cloth was used to make, because
Yeah.
ready-made clothes weren't then, so enslaved people were just given cloth and they had to make their own clothes. And in the archaeological digs in Jamaica, they're finding needles and pins and buttons, little scraps of fabric. Quite fascinating. So is it okay if I just move on through these then? That's lovely, thank you.
That sounds work.
Oh, we've got a colleague joining us just at the moment from Canada. Runmi's joining us, so see what's going on. Whoops.
Okay.
Anne's going to come over and talk.
Hi. Yeah, this is more graphic work, a combination of different images. Some of the pictures underlying it, I sketched when I went down to Dolgellau and found a little route that I could take around the Arran. I went on the Mills archive site and found where these old mills were, and there was a little route around the Arran from South Street. So yeah, I did some artwork when I was down there and took loads of pictures and did a recording as well, partly because it was easier to record my feelings than it was to write things down. So then in the class we were kind of combining these images and using.
That's fascinating. They're really beautiful. And it's interesting that you've chosen St. Kitts. We need to do more research on the Stapleton cotton family in Anglesey, who had plantations in St. Kitts, I think it was. So that's interesting.
Okay, so yeah, I think that
There's some more images of yours now.
Oh, are they?
Oh. Yeah, if you go to the next slide.
Okay, Sue-Ann, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so the first image is the right way up, and these were sketches in the field. And then the second one is you have to tilt your head to the right.
That's
and
my fault.
These are other sketches, but yeah, I was kind of inspired by all the lush greenery and the kind of nature taking back the ruins of these mills, and sort of sense of it again, just neutralizing some of the past, I suppose, really. Yeah, so I just used these.
Beautiful drawings.
That was the Wenat factory, and I really like that site. I had to trespass a little bit to get there, but not much. Yeah, I kind of like the ivy crawling up the trees, and then this was another waterfall site. Just sketch there.
Gets the feeling, right.
And now we want to somebody else's. Thank you.
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry, I skipped it ahead. Thank you very much. Those are really good, sketches that you did while you were there. Absolutely brilliant. Sure you'll find those useful. Okay, so this is, thank you, Sue-Ann.
Well, this is Chloe's work, but she doesn't feel like saying anything just now.
Okay.
So just working a lot more graphically.
Yeah.
Jane, they had like a graphic project in the studio. So
fantastic.
So yeah.
Fabulous. So interesting. Real skills you've got to produce this sort of work. Fabulous. Wow. Okay, yeah.
I think this is yours again, Sue, isn't it? Sorry, I should have put it next to your
It's
work.
all right, don't worry. Yeah, so I just put together a really quick flyer, basically, just including a bit of my work.
Thank you. That's really fascinating. It's interesting how you can, you know, twine the text and show it in different ways. Really interesting ones. Okay, so whose is this?
Mine. I wanted to do like a textiles theme to it because it kind of goes with yeah. And I did like house because I'm really inspired by the architecture side of it.
Yeah, yeah.
I did make this, which isn't on the slides. I made like a 3D thing of one of the mills. Is it the mills? Yeah.
Fabulous. I think that, you know, the architecture really hasn't really been studied and explained. It's kind of, you know, we just know it's there, but there's lots of explanation. That's fantastic. Wonderful. Okay, is this someone else's?
Still mine again. I watched a video.
All right, that's good.
It was linked in the website.
Yeah.
We were shown, and I just like sort of typed out the information that stood out to me, and then I drew some buildings and parts of buildings that I saw as well.
Fascinating. The bit that you've picked out there is fascinating in the text, because Sean Fletcher was in Pennant, a little village called Pennant, which is named after the Pennant family, who and the wealth from those plantations is what built Penrhyn Castle. Now we're in close contact with Pennant. I was talking to a group of people on Zoom there last night, and we're trying to do a reparation project to improve things at the school and to improve things at the community centre and to make sure that the basic school toilets are improved. So we're talking history here in your illustration, but what the North Wales Jamaica Society are trying to do is to get past the history and to really make connections. And so if you want to know more about that anytime, I'd be happy to tell you. That's fabulous. It's so well presented. Thank you. Okay, is that it for these? Right, okay. Well, thank you very much indeed. That's just amazing.
I'm not sure if Jessica has something to present or not.
Jessica?
Jessica, Jess, did you have anything?
Well, Jessica's just sorting it out. I'm just going to talk to Bunmi Oyisan. Bunmi is a Nigerian author who's based in Canada now, and does a wonderful, has a wonderful site. Come on, Bunmi, help me out. Tell me what it's called.
Sankofa Pan-African series on YouTube.
Sankofa Pan-African series on YouTube.
We've also recently launched sankofastorybooks.com, where we have African history, stories, rhymes, and lots of other educational resources for young people. We have historical comics from UNICEF. So it's a comic, is a website where I think some of our guests today might find interesting. It's called sankofastorybooks.com. I'll put up the information on the in the message, the two websites. I'm so sorry I came late today. I'm actually in the UK, incidentally.
Are you, Bunmi?
Yes, but I forgot about the time change. Yes, my mom is 88 tomorrow, so I'm visiting with her. I'm visiting her.
Oh, that's fabulous. I'm so glad you were able to join us, Bunmi. And don't stand still for too long in the UK, or you might get appointed as Prime Minister. You never know. Sorry. Yes, okay, then let's try and calm down again. Right, okay, so who else got a presentation to show?
Jessie's going to work.
Jessica, right, Jessica. Are you able to screen share, Jessica?
Yes, can you?
This done, everything, right, okay, screen sharing, very good.
Okay,
Marvelous.
so this is what I did first.
Wow.
Just like last minute, every bit of like a thing from the.
Go slower, go slower. We want to see the.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's beautiful. You
From
see,
the,
these are different kinds of sheep again. It's really important because we need to understand what it was about these sheep that made the cloth made from their wool, what made it so valuable, so very much valued around the world.
Yes.
Fantastic.
So unfortunately, I wasn't able to go to the wool museum. So instead, I was lucky enough that one of my friend Kim told me about the online virtual museum. So I was able to just draw from that point of view.
Well, that's news to me, and that would be really interesting to see. You've got two sorts of spinning wheels there. You've got the one on the right-hand corner, which was later, and that would have been operated, foot operated. You would have pressed the pedal at the bottom, and it would have, you had, you'd use it like that. But the other one is a very old one, and you had to walk with that one. It's called a walking wheel, and you had to walk up and down in order to get far enough away to pull the wool, and then you would let it wind onto the bobbin, and then you would walk away again. I can't really explain it clearly, but fascinating. Thank you. That's a really, really interesting range of illustrations. Well done.
Thank you. And then with the same illustration, I just had fun with it, with making this.
Yeah.
Just putting it together, making a pattern or something, just like, because like we've got a lot of tea cloths, so I thought this would look nice as a tea cloth or something.
Absolutely. What better way of getting the story around? The story of Welsh wool in its own right is very, very important. The aspect of being involved in the slave trade is only an aspect of it. Well done.
Thank you. And that's all. Just these two, unfortunately.
Thank you. Well, you've done some good work there. Exquisite drawing and really good graphics, you know, how you've used it. Okay, then, so when you've switched I think you have to shut yourself off. I'm not quite sure how we do this. Okay, then, right, well done, a great deal of support there. Now, Bumney's put her link to her history channel on YouTube, so if anybody's interested in that, you can pick out that link.
I'm just putting up the one for the books.
Oh, you are you? Okay. Right. Well, because I've inadvertently pressed on it, it's come up on my screen, so just so that you can all see. This is not about the Welsh woolen industry at the moment, although Bunmi, I'm sure you might be interested to share that story, but this is Bunmi's site. Here's Bunmi down at the bottom, and you do these several postings each week. I know you're just so busy with it. Sankova Pan-African series. Okay, excellent. I won't share that any longer. Thank you very much, Bunmi, for sharing that. Where's she gone on my screen? I can't see her. Oh, yes. Okay, then. Right. Now, back to the plot then, and I'm aware of the time. If we just wrap up now, or have you got a little longer?
I have to go back to the workshop, Liz, because I've got some students waiting for me there. So yes, I do need to fly away, but that's been really...
Well, is there anything else you want to add then, Miranda?
No, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity to, meet with all of you and to share all the students' work. It's been really lovely to see it presented in this way. So thank you.
Beautiful. Well, perhaps we can look forward to you all joining us at a future stage in the new year or later in the year, depending. And maybe we might be able to share some of your final exhibition work, as well as this work. It's just fascinating, isn't it? Lovely to be able to share like this. So special. Miranda, off you go and do your teaching then. Other people, if you want to stay on the screen, you're absolutely welcome to. What I thought I would do is just, if I can find it, of course, is to just, oh, today is it, just to go through a quick PowerPoint to tell you to make sure that you're okay on all the background of the story of okay. I'm not sure who's you know, it's when you got the family walking behind you or whatever, you know, it's always interesting on Zoom, isn't it? Anyway, okay then, if any of you want to just stay on with, I'm just going to whiz through a PowerPoint that that tells you about the project and how yes, Seren and everybody else, all the students, it's fine if you leave now.
Yeah, I'm just about to leave now.
Okay, bye-bye then, and thank you so much.
Goodbye, everybody.
Anybody
Goodbye.
who wants to stay on is welcome to stay.
Thank you.
It's goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Those
Goodbye.
presentations were fantastic.
Absolutely
Thank you. Goodbye.
fantastic, says McCarthy. That's really, really
Hello,
lovely.
bye.
Goodbye now. Bye.
Thank you. It's wonderful, lovely presentation.
Bye.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
One love.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Hey, bye. Oh, that's lovely. Okay then, well, that's really great. What fun. Okay, so just while we're just winding down, I'm just going to, can you stay, Charlotte, any longer?
About 10 minutes, Liz, is that?
Yeah, fine, okay.
Sorry.
So I was just going to
Excuse me, Liz, what time are we going to finish today? About 3?
Well, it's about 12:30 here, but 3
What
if
time
you
will we
like,
finish?
yes.
When you're ready, we'll finish
Yeah.
when you're ready.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
We won't
we
go,
can carry on next week after.
We certainly won't go past 3, but we'll finish this bit about the wall to start with.
Right, okay. Well, I'm driving now, so I've switched off
All
my
right,
camera.
okay.
I'm listening. Yeah.
Don't watch, please. Thank you. Okay, then. So this project that we undertook, we looked very much at the 1650 to 1850, which meant that we weren't really looking at the production of the sophisticated Welsh cloths that were produced in the mills, and so this project was just a 2019 project, and then COVID came and we weren't able to carry on anymore, but we did have the support of Professor Chris Evans from the University of South Wales, and his book Slave Wales is an amazing production. So this is how we presented the work, and we had a lovely artist who helped us. We had community research volunteers. But the thing is that we were looking at this really early period, which is why the Arun Valley is of such interest, because a lot of pandis, which were the fulling mills, and a lot of factories where the cloth was stored or dealt with were built at that time. But a lot of the work was happened in homes. And we were involved with the Place Name Society. I mentioned that earlier. And we had local artists advising us. Now, the whole project had to be bilingual. So for those of you who are not used to seeing Welsh written, this presentation, which I won't go on much longer, but it all had to be translated into Welsh. So it's kind of difficult because you can't just, unless you're bilingual, you can't just change the wording on the slides of anything, because it has to stay as it was. So we linked up with local historians and talked with families, talked with the farming families, and just began to, really it was a beginning to understand a really unknown aspect of Wales's shared history to do with the slave trade. Says here cloth was given out once a year, but there was difference in the cloths that was given, were provided, the flannels provided for house slaves in the southern states were often very fine cloth. And then there were the poorer fabrics, and the cloth was also used for the army and all sorts of other purposes. So that's what we did. We just explored the history of the production of the woolen factory, the woolen fabric. and made a start on the project. So we are absolutely delighted that Charlotte took up the cudgel in a way with the woven histories, so that we are continuing to explore the story and explore different ways of presenting the story, which might be far more applicable than a boring PowerPoint for schools to use in this new curriculum, because there is nowhere in Wales where you're that far away from fields where there are sheep. So it's such an obvious part of Welsh life. It's a really interesting part of Welsh history. And as I say, there's so many buildings to explore as well, that this is a history that's well worth spending some more time to explore. So Charlotte, is there anything else that you want to say to wrap it up, or maybe Marcia?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry about the body walking in, it's Jane. Hello there. Let me put the light on. Yeah, honestly, I look so awful. And anyway.
You do not. No, I'm just very quickly, because I've got a dash. So just thank you, Liz, so much for hosting this session. Really, really enjoyed it. And I think the students enjoyed presenting their work and getting some feedback. And really interesting to see, I think, as you said, how we can make this history more accessible through all these different incredible visual means. And a tea towel, amazing.
I'm just floored at the high standard of the graphic detail. I mean, wow, I mean, and I'm not saying we're not strong, very strong, but the students, and look at the standard, wow, amazing.
It is exceptional.
And the time they've taken to research as well, I think. Really.
Charlotte, can you especially pass on thanks from Marcia and myself and everybody on the Black History Conversations. It's absolutely remarkable, really, really wonderful, and I hope they enjoy perhaps going through on the looking at the recording again. So perhaps I can pass that on to you. Okay, so that's wonderful. So thank you so much, Charlotte. We'll talk to you next week on the next steps. Okay, all then. Right,
great.
Lovely.
Bye.
Okay, June, I hope you're parked up. Bye. You parked up, June? I can't hear you.
I'm just waiting. It's pouring of rain. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Okay. Yeah. So I'm just going to go back to my big PowerPoint presentation that I do for each session, because there's some more things that we wanted to have a little look at on this. So okay, so we're back to a more normal wrap up for the Black History Conversations now, but I think that was so special that I'm going to ask you, Simon, if you'll stop the recording in a moment, because I think that was the part that's really valuable to have recorded and to post on the website. So if you could stop the recording, Simon, I'd be very grateful.